Well, we often hear the insult bird brain, but it's turning out to be a real compliment because scientists are uncovering astonishing secrets about how clever birds really are. Our next guest has shown that tiny fairy-wren birds in Australia sing to eggs in the nest to help the chicks learn before they even hatch. Let's have a listen to a couple of mother birds now. For more on bird songs, we're joined from Adelaide by Professor of Animal Behaviour at Flinders University, Sonia Kleindorfer. Hello, Sonia. Welcome to the show. Now, you recorded those bird songs that we just heard. What are they teaching their babies before they even hatch?
So when the female is incubating the eggs, we had microphones inside the nest, and we were most surprised. We were not expecting that the female would be calling to the eggs. And it turns out the call has two elements, an A and a B. And we had no idea why she was doing this. And so after hatching, we still had the microphone in the nest, and the little nestlings produced the element B of the incubation call. So that was their begging call. And we didn't know if it was taught or learned until we actually swapped clutches of eggs between nests. And the nestlings came out producing the element B of their foster mother. And that's when they knew, when we knew that the call was learned as an embryo.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Well, so this actually makes me think about singing and playing music to our babies when they're in the womb. What do you think of that notion?
Yeah, so humans, there aren't that many vocal learning species on the planet. Humans are one, and dolphins and whales are another group, and songbirds are the other. And so like the songbirds, human embryos do respond to song. You can see an embryo or a fetus sucking on its thumb when it hears mother's lullaby or its mother's voice. The difference with humans and songbirds, though, is that at birth, a human doesn't actually say anything or speak a sentence. And that's the difference. When the songbird egg hatches, the little nestling produces like the sentence it learned from its mother or its foster mother. And so it's a really great opportunity to look at the effect of sound exposure as an embryo. And I'm sure the same thing happens to humans. It's just that because the human baby doesn't speak at birth, we can't really measure what it's learned vocally.
Because we've had experts for years now talk about singing to kids even before, long before they can speak, reading to kids long before they can actually process the words. So do we know yet if that is actually doing something, if that is a magic bullet, or, as you say, is it still sort of just a bit of guesswork?
Well, it's early stages, but now with this new model system of songbirds, what we've done is taken eggs and had some eggs in an incubator reared in silence and some exposed to a call of their species, any female, and we put the egg into MRI scans. And if the embryo was exposed to sound or song, it actually had more neurons and better development.
Wow.
And so the next test that our lab and other labs are doing is to then see if fledglings or young birds that had been exposed to particular sound as an embryo do better on cognitive performance tasks. And there's evidence that is about to be published that they do learn more across different life stages. So I think it really does set you up for a range of capacities, including language, but maybe problem solving, social skills, and a range of other skills that are important for survival.
There's so much incredible behaviour that we can learn from birds. Tell us a bit about Betty the crow. This is one who used tools.
Yeah. Extraordinary. No, the more that we observe the animals with whom we share this planet, the more we see and pay attention to and can think about. And Betty the crow was extraordinary. So the story is that that researchers were testing tool use in the crows, and they had placed these curve hooks and measured various tasks among the males. They had collected the tools, and a student forgot to turn off the video recorder, and the next day discovered that after the tools had been taken, the curved hooks that researchers were exploring, that Betty had seen the apparatus, found a straight stick, and then fashioned a hook out of it and solved the task.
Wow.
So, you know, Betty was an innovator, a problem solver, a planner, perhaps. And then the interesting thing, in addition to the fact that tool use, which was once considered, you know, unique to humans, man, the tool user, and our early evolution, and we now have not only the fact that birds can use tools, but because Betty was a female, it also raises the question of why, as scientists and as a community, really, we had been ignoring female complex behavior. And so there's been a real renaissance looking at female complexity and learned behavior. And Betty the Crow is a pioneer to get our attention to focus on the ingenuity of animals.
Wow. Fabulous information there. And I've got to say, your shirt, very on trend when it comes to your topic. Professor Sonia Kleindorfer, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
I wonder if, you know, the whole thing of singing to your baby, whether that works with talking. Because I've been through 2 pregnancies on this panel, and weirdly, the boys, every time, like, I put them down, they start applauding me. Like the studio audience, yeah.
They have
That'll
actually
be it.
But it is amazing. They have thought for ages that even before you can find out, researchers have thought with early childhood development that the sooner you can get them, and I know I go on about this, it actually builds neural pathways. So it doesn't just help you learn the words or the songs that you're hearing. It actually helps the brain form new ways to learn other things.
Got to say one more thing. Betty the Crow fashioning tools. That looks like a weapon to me. I don't know about
We know birds. Birds are dinosaurs. Birds are
that are
dinosaurs.
on killing.
They're taking over the world again. I warned about this. They said I was crazy.
Speaking of birds, oh, I know. What about the birds that come to your balcony?
They use tools when they're grumpy.
What sort of tools?
Well, if Pete was sitting there one day and he refused to feed the cockatoos, and we had this beautiful big candle on the table, and the cockatoo nudged it a bit, and Pete said, "No, you're not getting any food." The cockatoo nudged it a bit more, and "No, you're not getting any food." So the cockatoo knocked it off the table and smashed it. Stood there and went, "Now am I getting some food?"
Oh my God!
Wow.
Very smart.
And did the cockatoo get food?
No, not from Peter, but I snuck in and fed it later.
So the cockatoos all formed the union and then walked out.
Yeah. Now, speaking of birds.